Okay, folks, so I have something that I want you to think about. Now, I don't think this video is going to make me many friends, but what is the point of having a YouTube channel if you're just going to say things that people want to hear? Let me put it to you this way. At the end of World War II, you had the Americans, the British, the French, and the other associated forces closing in on the Nazis from the West and, to some extent, the South. And then you had the Soviet Union closing in on them from the East. And obviously, while these allies had their differences, the Western powers joined together with the Soviet Union to crush a common enemy, the Nazi powers. Obviously, they had different reasons for wanting them destroyed. They had different perspectives on what to do with the land afterwards. But at the end of the day, the commonality was what? Well, they both wanted the Nazis gone. They say the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? And the Allies were successful. In fact, on May 2nd, 1945, the Soviets marched right into Berlin and captured the capital city. Nazi Germany was officially destroyed. And in the aftermath, the land was partitioned by the Allies. But the truth is, of course, the Soviet Union had a completely different agenda in mind for the region than the Western powers did. Not only that, but they also had a completely different worldview and thus a completely different set of aspirations. And in the decades after this war, it turned out the Soviets weren't exactly a great ally. In fact, they quickly became an adversary. You ended up getting 44 years of a Cold War that could have brought the entire world to ashes. Okay, so where am I going with this? Well, let's say that you are looking at a typical meme stock. You have several main interested parties here. You have the short sellers that want the stock to go down to zero. You have the company who is attached to the stock that wants to see the stock thrive so they can make money for themselves and the shares that they hold so they can raise more capital to support their business. And then you also have the speculators that want to squeeze out the shorts and make tons of money on the stock as it squeezy McSqueezes. Now let us go back to our map. Let's say that Nazi Germany is a meme stock. It's been overtaken by a party of radical short sellers. No, I'm not saying that short sellers are akin to Nazis. I'm just using this as an example. So let us say for a second that similar to how the Nazis occupied and controlled Germany in 1940, short sellers occupy and control meme Germany today. And then you have the forces in the West, the meme speculators, retail buyers, and small-time investors that want to see these radical short sellers get pushed out. And then you have the leaders of the company, the board members, the controlling shareholders who are also wanting to see these short sellers pushed out. Well, it may seem that both are on the same team, right? They both have the same goal. Get rid of the radical short sellers. Conquer short-controlled meme Germany. But what happens when they finally start closing in on the short sellers and the East starts thinking, hey, wait a second. How do I use my newfound land to my advantage? How can I use these war gains to benefit myself and push my own agenda, regardless of what that does to my allies to the West? The goal of the East in this situation is not just to take back control of their stock, but also to enrich the company and, most importantly, enrich themselves, right? And they attempt to do that at the expense of the buyers over here who are at the same time responsible for actually helping them take back their meme Germany in the first place. They use their Western allies while it is convenient, knowing fully well that at the end of the day, they are going to backstab them. And to be fair, the allies over here have their own separate agenda too, right? They want to make some quick money, some quick moolah. They don't really care about what happens to this party. Maybe some of them say they do, but most of the time they're specifically fighting this because they have a short-term objective that they're trying to meet. The point here is, in my warning to anybody that is playing a squeeze stock specifically for the squeeze itself, is that the East, the Soviets, the company's leadership, and the people with pull at these major companies, they may only be your friends for a small amount of time while it's convenient. In reality, they don't give a hoot about you. They will backstab you every chance they get if it will serve to lift themselves up and their own agenda, which is at best enriching the company with your dollars or at worst enriching themselves. And complaining about it is quite frankly like complaining that the Soviet Union was spreading communism. It's like, obviously, that's like their whole thing. The reason that I am bringing this up right now is because as the meme revenge trade has heated up, the dynamic of milking the retail trader has as well. And it will only become more and more apparent as these stocks rise. If you happen to like any meme stock whose whose leadership has locked in millions and millions and millions of dollars because of the meme trade itself, instead of actual good leadership, has insisted over and over again at being paid top dollar, if not even more money, despite their companies being on the verge of bankruptcy, while at the same time heavily diluting you every single chance they get. Well, you may be dealing with a Soviet Union. If you are told that dilution is good because it helps the company long term, while fully knowing that you were trading this as a short-term short squeeze play, you may be dealing with a Soviet Union. The fact of the matter is, the Soviet Union is not interested in your short-term trade, your short-term squeeze. They are interested in, number one, enriching themselves, and number two, pushing their long-term agenda, which has nothing to do with the squeeze. And you cannot fault them for that. That is just the game that they are playing. They are playing the power that you just gave them. Now, hey, to be clear, if you think that you can achieve a goal by invading the region with them and having a clear entry and exit strategy, that could make sense. But don't for a minute think that they are on your side just because you have a common enemy. The minute that you turn your back, you may just find 4.5 billion tons of uranium being deployed into nuclear warheads and aimed right at your head. Anyways, something to think about, folks.